What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the NDA podcast. We're on episode 103. Obviously, I'm joined by Kev, and today, especially, we're joined by Ryder. Thank you, Ryder, for joining on a bit of a short notice here. Unfortunately, Wex cannot be here today, but the show must go on, and that's what we're going to do. So, we're going to cover week 5. We're going to recap all of the games that happened the other week. And then also, I think we're going to touch on the one game that already happened this week, week 6, and then preview the next, 5 or so games that are supposed to happen? Is it 5? I don't know.
Well, if one already happened, it should
so
be
it's
5.
6.
It's
right?
6. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, 14.
Yeah.
Math.
I don't know.
Good math.
Math is hard. I'm trying. And then we'll preview the game of the week as well for this week. So, without further ado, let's jump into the week 5 recap. Starting off with Mao versus Riolu. I want to throw it over to Ryder real quick. First, Ryder, how do you feel about that match? What do you think?
I just think that Mao prepped really well for the match. He countered Riolu's strongest weather lead for sure in Tornadus and Kyogre. With his Aerodactyl, miraculously, it was a perfect counter for sure.
Yeah, it was really strong. Yeah.
And he maxed the Maractus too, which you would love to see it. And it put in a lot of work that week.
Yeah, it was
really
a shame
good.
that
Wex game too.
It's a shame that Wex couldn't be on here to talk about the Max Maractus, because that's what he wanted to see so much, and Max delivered, and it did all right. It only recorded 1 kill, I think, but it was a huge kill in game 2. It O-code the
Max Crocodile.
The Max Crocodile, which was really good.
I think it just had the weakness policy set by the Delibird Ice Shard as well. So it was about to do a bunch of damage. Luckily, though, the Max Overgrowth put in enough work to OHKO it. So, I mean, you could argue that was oversight, but who expects Max Maractus? You know?
Well, set 2 was Riolu. I talked to Riolu about it. He did mention that he thought about switching out his Crocodile and swapping in the Boufflant with Sapsipper. Yeah, he thought about it, and he was predicting that Mao knew about Sapsipper Boufflant, so he stayed in. And assume.
Oh wow! So it's.
And gonna assume that the Maractus was either gonna Max Strike, because I think it revealed Max Strike as its other move.
Yeah, so, I think first game he did Max Strike first.
So Riolu was predicting that sequence, and that's why he thought, okay, I can proc my weakness policy and attack, not expecting that Mao would target Max Overgrowth into the Crocodile slot.
Yeah, that's one of the. I feel like that's one of those scenarios. What's up?
Yeah, with a set down, in that scenario, you wouldn't want to play safe. You wouldn't want to make a risk like that. That's how I would assess the situation if I was 1 down at that point.
Yeah, because I know we've talked about it before. What's the safest play? And that was definitely the most aggressive play, predicting what what he should do or what he would do, and then doing his moves based off of that. I think that was a bit of an issue for the second game. It would have been really bold and really nice to see if it did work out the way he predicted with the Max Strike, but unfortunately, it's not how it went. Kevin, what are your thoughts on that sequence?
Well, I kind of want to go back to game 1. Could have went either way. Mao showed out on paper. It goes 2-0 Mao. But honestly, Necrozma lived on a roll. It lived on 3%. Could have went either way if that Necrozma died, because Necrozma had weakness policy and kind of steamrolled some things. Like Max Maractus that game didn't get a single kills. Didn't get any kills the game one, and weakness policy Necrozma set up light screen and was just able to start living hits and clicked Earthquake and had a lot of spread damage that way. Actually, I think it was only a +1 eventually, but and it is very quietly making its way up the kill chart. I think it's third right now. If we check right now, I'm pretty sure that's what I saw. So Necrozma is proving to be very good for Mal, and Mal is sitting amongst the many 4-1 teams coming into this week. So kudos to Mal. I mean, he played very well, but game one, it could have been a whole different story if Necrozma died on that turn. So I just wanted to bring that up. And then Max Maractus got rid of the Crocodile game 2, which was really clutch, like we talked about, and I kind of allowed him to just pick up momentum and win 2-0. So that's all my thoughts on that one.
Yeah, I just wanted to say real quickly, I'm loving the boofulent
Boof.
the boofulent.
The boof.
The Sap Sepper was actually a really good idea, and I enjoy seeing these types of sets like coming out. Crocodile with Delibird getting procced by the Ice Shard for the weakness policy, like those types of things are really nice. Like you can always just be basic and run Tornogre and be like, okay, beat it. But it's a lot more fun when you have a little more depth to the team and you see like different strategies coming out where in certain situations it wouldn't be as good, but in this specific one it works really, really well. Like if you had a different team or whatever. So I enjoy it. I think it was pretty. It was a very, very nice set, very, very enjoyable one as a viewer. So, with that being said, let's move on to me versus Rooster. It pains me to say this, guys, but I failed you all.
You failed me.
Well, I failed the whole league because everyone else is sitting at least with one loss, right? And then there's Rooster at the top, sitting at, well, now 6 wins and 14 points because Harrison also fumbled.
Yeah, we'll get to that. We'll get to that.
But yeah, so for my game, it was
Talk about these struggles.
Yeah, no, it wasn't great. The Kling Clank Snorlax lead was not expected at all. I was
Snorlax.
It's not Snorlax, Munchlax.
Wasn't even Snorlax.
Munchlax. I said Munchlax. God.
No, I'm not. No, I wasn't. I'm saying kudos to Rooster. It wasn't even Snorlax. Max Munchlax.
Yeah,
God damn.
Max Munchlax. It wasn't even the fact that it was doing some damage. It's just the fact that he ally switched turn 1. It just then you have to consider it like the entire time, and that makes the game a lot harder. If they could just take it out of doubles, that'd be a wonderful thing. But I mean, that's kind of the whole point, is to be used in doubles. So I don't know. It gives another layer of prediction. It makes things a lot harder and a lot less basic. I had ally switch on Meowstic just to be a dick whenever something happened, and I used it turn 2. I don't know if that was the best move. I don't think it was, but I wanted to use it. Yeah, I had nothing for the Munchlax. I had some things for the Kling Clang, but it was if I had run Aura Sphere, I would be in a much better spot. But you know, here we are. I lost. Yeah, so like I was saying earlier, though, I prepped too hard for Gigas Weezing, and then I prepped too hard for Calyrex, Amoonguss, the basic leads. Had Sucker Punch on Meowstic. Could have used it game 2, and that would have almost OHKO'd, because I had it set to do over 50%, and paired with a Grassy Glide, it would definitely get the kill. But I had Sucker Punch, and if I used it game 2, I was going to kill Calyrex, and it wouldn't have been a problem, and that would have been really, really nice.
Stopped you from clicking Sucker Punch game. Forget game 2, right? The game 1.
No,
I feel like there was definitely a time where you could have clicked it and you decided against it, and it probably wouldn't work.
No, turn 1 on game 2, I could have clicked it, and I didn't because I think I was scared of I think it was like Focus Sash, and I wasn't sure if I wanted to go into the Calyrex there, because I think on that time I don't know if I led with Dialga or if I led with
I think it was Boom, and he had Wheezing, so like you couldn't Grassy Glide, but you could have still Sucker Punched. And then Rillaboom lived the Astral Barriers that it eventually clicked. Then I think Boom is faster than Wheezing, so you would have been able to get rid of the Calyrex if you click Sucker Punch, if it didn't just OHKO on its own or die from Life Orb damage.
Yeah,
So,
I'm not gonna lie, I didn't watch the replay over. It's just too much pain. But I mean, I made it 4-3 at the end with the acrobatics into him. I think a Moongus came out and I was able to kill it before I died. But for differential sake, but still, I mean, props to Rooster. I mean, he has a lot of things he can bring, and I definitely wasn't expecting that one. So it is what it is. I'd rather not stir on this one. Let's move on to something that was a little more interesting. We had Mac versus Germ. Ryder, how did you like how Mac played against Germ in this one?
Mac played very well. He predicted what Germ would do. I think he played around for Germ's lack of knowledge of the gimmick, and I think that benefited him in that match for sure.
I clicked the Copycat Trick Room, and Germ was like, "Wait, what? That's how that works?" I was just like, "Oh man, Germ's in trouble."
Yeah, he was in the mud after he didn't know how that interaction worked. But I mean, to be fair,
And then
it's not really a common occurrence. It's essentially only for the Riolu Hatterene, or it could be Riolu.
anything with Trick Room.
Yeah, Riolu stack as well. So I mean, that's also a possibility.
Mm-hmm. And I like that after he set up Trick Room, he then had Bullet Punch on Riolu and procced his own weakness policy with Hatterene. And after that, Hatterene just kind of went ham. Like, Mac had a straight game plan for Germ, and it played perfectly. Like, it was just, Mac knew what he wanted to do, and he executed it well. And I guess it is just because of Germ's lack of knowledge on the tech. He didn't really prepare for that. Or he just, even his lead, couldn't even couldn't handle that. Like, he couldn't stop it. So it was very interesting, very well thought out by Mac prior to the game. Just kudos to good prep. Love some good prep.
Mm-hmm.
I think the highlight of game, we can get into game 2 now, because it was a little closer, but the highlight of game 2 for me wasn't the continued dominance from Mac or the Riolu getting the the Pokemon Riolu getting the final kill with Copycat. It came down to a 4-3 win with Riolu clicking Copycat from, I forget what was out on the field still. The highlight for,
I think it was foul play.
yeah, it was Berserker, yeah. The highlight for me was our own coach, Master Riolu, coming into the game at like 1 a.m. when they're playing our time and being drunk off his ass and telling everyone. That was honestly, when I was watching the replays and I saw that was the funniest thing. That was one of the funniest things I've ever seen in the comments on replays. So shout out to Master Riolu for being up at 1 a.m. drunk watching the game. Supporting Riolu. It was the luck. It was the luck Mac needed for Riolu to clutch up at the end of the game. It's so funny. So funny.
Man,
Pretty-
I
it's-
was
it's
not
comedy
there
gold.
when that match.
It was like
about to
normal
read the
time.
Comments.
It was normal time for you and you weren't up watching it. Like that was like decent hours for PST. Like the PST versus Hawaii time is so off our EST time. We were all so far asleep by the time they played. But it was fun to wake up
behind
to.
7 hours. Isn't that what it is?
It's 5, I think. So
5
Wex is +5 and Hawaii is -5. Normally, like under standard times, it's usually +5, -5.
Wait, does Wex ever have to play Germ?
I don't know. I mean, this was always the issue during draft, if they were going to be next to each other. But it's looking like they don't have to play each other, I'm pretty sure.
Until playoffs, yeah. If that's
Yeah, they don't play each other, I'm pretty sure. Unless they do. Oh, nope, they play each other week 9.
Oh, all
That'll
right.
be fun. Yeah. I think we can move on. Kudos to Mac again. Just out good play, good strategy. And that transitions us into me versus Will, which I finally defeated Will in some form of Pokemon battle. I'm so excited.
Oh
Will
boy.
has, through our little rivalry, I don't know, I find it a rivalry because he pisses me off how much he beats me in singles. The hype for this match I think was really real between us two, and it kind of, I think it lived up to it. Some RNG hacks kind of. So game one, late game scenario, I paralyzed the Eternatus, and like 5-6 turns. I mean, I guess it's bad that you ask for a full para, but if I get a full spot, but if you ask for a para after like 1 or 2 turns, efficient. Like you don't have a real strategy. But Eternatus was live for like 5 to 6 turns without one full para. That's just me hacking him and then not getting the hacks. Like I got unlucky at that point. It was like under odds that he didn't get parried at that point. And then he caught a clutch burn with Flamethrower into Zamazenta, which halved its damage late game, and Eternatus was able to sweep up, which was very frustrating. And hacks went Will's way that game. They won 1-0. Game 2, that didn't win one. He won with one. I think it was 3-4. And then game 2 have, I think, either weakness policy procced or swords danced up slash, who I paralyzed as well on a key moment where Thunderous could have got killed by a Shadow Sneak. Got the full para, and that gave me the momentum to win game 2. And I want to talk about Serena. It was the first week I brought it this week, and it was really there just to stop all the Whimsicott shenanigans. But at the same time, like, it just wasn't doing anything to like Volcarona, which was his max option. Just was kind of frustrating. So I scarfed Serena to be faster than Eternatus, which was useful for those things. Like I could outspeed most things on his team and at least chip it. But Volcarona at max, it wasn't cutting it. Game 2, I adjusted and Trick Room and Fake Out and just got rid of Whimsicott rather than just neutralize it. So I think going Trick Room with Lapras and Athatel really pushed the game in my favor. And I think since the first 2 games ended in hacks, game 3 was a nice way to end it with no hacks, just adjustment on my part. And it was still close at the end. I let the Thunderous go down for differential and I only won 4-3, but I think I always had it in hand at that point. It was just the differential made it look closer. But kudos to Will. I mean, he's playing so well in doubles and has an amazing record for being 2-3. He hasn't beat 2-0 yet, so kudos to Will. GG's, my man. I kind of talked a lot about this game. I was excited for it. If you guys have anything to add, please go for it. My bad.
GG, Will. Again, you're unlucky. You're versing Kev, so you know how that works.
You can't say he got lucky game 1.
No.
You can't ignore that. It goes both ways.
Scoreboard. My feelings reside with Will's loss here. Will, I understand how it must feel to lose to Kev, especially by hacks. You know better than most people in this league. When you play, you're gonna get hacked. It's gonna happen, okay? Whether it be yellow magic or whether it just be flinches. You know, maybe it's an air slash flinch into Blaziken in a playoff match. You know, this stuff happens for Kev all the time. So don't take it personally. You played well. You did your best. And just prep for this week coming up. And best of luck. I still think, I'm going to hold on to my word. Top 4, I think it's very, very possible. Even though you lost to Kev. Yeah.
Are there anything to add real quick before we go to the next game?
It was a close game. It was an enjoyable watch. There was definitely RNG on both sides.
Thank you for being reasonable.
Yeah. But it's you, Kev. So it
Whoa,
was
whoa,
gonna
whoa, whoa!
benefit you.
Whoa. Relax. It was even, and that's why Game 3 was it was the equalizer. Game 3 summed up the game well. There was no RNG. It worked out. Everything worked out in the end. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, for you, not for.
Yeah.
Not
I
for the
deserved
boy.
it. I deserved it.
I mean, he has been kicking your ass in every other league that you've.
Yeah,
played in.
we know singles is dumb. We don't talk. Who cares about singles?
No, yeah, don't get me started on singles. Anyway, let's move on. We have Quartz v Gummy, as I coined it, the battle of the basement. Maybe a little too harsh on that one, but I mean, as scoreboards lie, they were 13th and 14th respectively. I just want to say, how do you not bring the snow warning? Like, how do you not bring the hail? How is that an oversight? That's like the whole point of clicking Blizzard and having fun. You can't even click Aurora Veil now to mitigate damage. It's the main reason you pick Ninetales is to have that hail setter. And you don't bring it for the ability. Come on, like, oh man.
Ember Ditto would like to have a word.
Well, I mean, that definitely contributed to why he lost 0-2 to Gummy here. I mean, credit to Gummy. Gummy played well. He brought, I think it was Max Togekiss.
Weakness policy
Spears.
Togekiss was very interesting.
Critney Spears 2.0 came out and put in a good bit of work. I remember first when he maxed, so I think he lost Pikachu either turn 1 or turn 2, and then the next turn, Raichu. It looks the same. Okay, I'm going off of memory here. Raichu died pretty early on, and then he switched in the Moltres Galar, and I think it was, and he max guarded, and then if Gummy had gone into the Moltres there, then great play, but he doubled into Ninetales, so after that point it's just like, okay, GG. And then there's really nothing else you can do at that point. You kind of just waste a turn by guarding. It was just hard. What do you guys think about it? Just the whole set in general. Just
it
feels
was
bad in my opinion.
Unfortunate for Quartz there, because if he did have the right ability on Ninetales, Veil would have been a huge game changer set 1, where that he could have maxed the Kyurem with Veil up. And Kyurem had a positive matchup against Gummy's team based on looking at team preview, and the fact that he didn't have the right support on the Ninetales, it really hindered the Kyurem to do what it does. And it was unfortunate, and it hurt Gummy. Not hurt Gummy, it benefited Gummy in set 1. And then set 2, it was a lot closer. Quartz adapted and made sure that he could play around with the lack of Veil support and Hail. But overall, it was a pretty good match, despite the unfortunate.
I mean, my main point on that is it's not even unfortunate. I think I give full blame to Quartz, because I don't know exactly, but I imagine that he built this team in 20 minutes and then said, yeah, I'm ready to go, which is what Quartz normally does. I feel like if Quartz spent a little more time on it, maybe he doesn't have the time. I don't know the issue, but I feel like if Quartz just put a little more time into his preps, we wouldn't be continually having these issues. And I do feel bad, but at the same time, it's like a little more attention to it, and you're in a good spot this game. Like, you might still lose, but Veil and Blizzard would really go a long way in this game. Like, the only way with Veil, Kyurem and Moltres live more hits. You can max Kyurem, like Ryder said. Like, the only way you have a only way you get screwed is if you do, and it's not even screwed because it's a viable strategy. We see it for like early seasons, is if you get the crit from Togekiss through the Veil. That's like the only way. Kudos to Gummy for having that. Like, okay, yeah, he has Ninetales. He wants to set a Veil. How do I stop it? I can Brick Break, or I can just run crit Togekiss and go through it. So he knew he would live a Blizzard, so the weakness policy was really good bring, in my opinion. You don't see weakness policy on Togekiss a lot, so it was a really safe bring. It was actually kudos to Gummy for that. He went away from it a little bit game 2. He tried to go like the screens route with Grimmsnarl and Solgaleo. But game 1, even if it went the right way for Quartz with Blizzard, I think Gummy would have been in a good spot. So Quartz unfortunate, my friend, but gotta spend a little more time on it and double check everything. That's all I'm gonna say. I think that's all my notes on that. Oh, and game 2 could have Quartz got a couple more flinches with a Fiery Wrath, the RNG aspect. But if he does get those flinches end game, that game could flip 4-3 Gummy to 4-3 Quartz if he gets a couple flinches with spread Fiery Wrath. So unfortunate. F's in the chat for Quartz. Maybe he's 0-5 now. He has suffered the amount of losses Wex suffered before Redemption Arc occurred. So he is now Redemption Arc. He's qualified for Redemption Arc, so we'll see how he does. Got a decent matchup against Finn this week, who just added Rayquaza before a Blizzard match, which was interesting. So we'll see how that goes. We'll get in that a little later as we go into our Game of the Week stuff. And Ryder, we can go straight into your match, my friend, if you want to start talking about your match.
Yeah, that was a very intense and close match. Like I had against Wex. It was. But okay, I started prepping for Wex like three days prior, and I was like going through different leads. Like I had 3 leads in mind. Like the one obvious one was Giratina Comfey. The other one was the Walrein plus Togetic, and the other one was Isel Stila plus whoever I can see fit. Like, those were the 3 different leads I had mapped out for that matchup, and only one of those 3 worked. And luckily only one of them worked because of damage roll. So
yeah, that live on one with Giratina was we didn't do a calc, so we don't know, like Rooster said, if that was a max roll.
It could have been. There's a 1 in 16 chance, guys. Let's give Ryder the benefit of a doubt. He definitely prepped for the helping hand play. Come on.
I don't know how much you. Giratina is a bulky boy, but yeah, max darkness with Dark Aura and a helping hand boost.
And it was Life Orb too.
A Life Orb boost. I don't know how much you prep for that. I don't know if you'd have to maybe run max.
I was lucky that I had enough bulk because I invested a little bit of bulk in special defense on the Giratina with max HP. So I was fortunate that I had that little bit of bulk on Giratina to live that. But I did not expect
okay, Ryder, can you answer this one question? Did you prepare for a helping hand max dark? Sorry about that, guys. We had a little Craig meltdown, but we're back. We're talking about Ryder here about the Giratina. You were saying something about knockoff, if I remember correctly.
Oh, turn 1, set 1. I was predicting a knockoff from Amy and Shell, and then I double attack self-prop weakness policy on Giratina, and I'm very happy I didn't because I would have killed myself. But
definitely would have died after the darkness,
for sure. But
yeah,
I was fishing for that proc on the Giratina because I knew that with the 2 leads he had, he could definitely hit Giratina for super effective. So I was banking on him to proc my weakness policy. And he did, and it almost KO'd Giratina. And when that happened, I was like, oh snap. Like, that did big damage.
The fact that Giratina it's credit to how bulky it is that it lives just a max darkness alone with Dark Aura from Yveltal, and that max, I assume with Life Orb and max special attack, that's like, in its special attack when it's max is over 200. Then you add the Life Orb and the Dark Aura. It's just credit the Giratina to how bulky it is for sure. The fact that that's a roll after a helping hand even is wild. It's absolutely wild. And after that, and so a little more RNGs, it allowed you to win game 1. Wex missed a sleep powder and a meteor beam that game as well, and it was very, very fortunate for you, Ryder. And it was looking like Wex could crumble this. You took a 1-0 lead.
Yeah. So RNG definitely favored me heavily set 1, and that's how I'm able to win that one. Like, if it didn't go my way, like Wex for sure would have won set 1. But those misses did help me out a ton because I was on the back foot there. I had my Giratina at 1 HP, and I had a bunch of support mons in the back. I had Togetic, Comfey, and Incineroar. And I was relying on Giratina to do most of the work and getting the KOs. And the fact that I went to 1% turn 1 did not help me a lot.
For sure.
So I had
and in game 2, you switched it up.
Defensive and stally set 1. And I got lucky and I was able to clutch it out. But then the next 2, that's when RNG didn't favor me. As in, I didn't get the misses or the crits or the statuses I needed.
Yeah. Were you Assault Vest again on Incineroar?
Yep, I was Assault Vest on Incineroar again.
Yep. My notes for game 2 are about you and Wex were stall, Assault Vest, Incineroar, and finally bringing Walrein Belly Drum. that Comfey stall with your bulky team is very frustrating to play against, and Wex kind of hung in there, and it worked out.
Yeah.
Unaware, Fable this week did some big things.
Yeah, for sure. I made that one misplay in targeting the Fable.
Yeah.
Set 2. I did not think about Unaware, and in hindsight, I should have predicted it. But it was pretty good.
If Fat Ditto, Unaware,
good sets, good prep, and it worked out in his favor. Like, Wex's prep pulled through the last 2 sets.
For sure. Isn't anything to add there?
Nope, nothing else to add. But we can, if you guys are finished with your points, we can move on to the game of the week recap of Harrison v Griff. Now, for this game, I was rooting for Griff. I was.
Talk about that prep.
Yeah, no, we prepped a decent bit. I can actually pull up the team and explain some certain aspects of it. I'm not sure if there's anything specific that he changed from the last Poke Paste that he sent me, so I'll just talk about the stuff that I'm.
Talk about that Flame Orb.
Yeah, so
that was interesting.
Flame Orb, that was his idea. He put that down. Usually I would run competitive, considering maxing and then hitting into another slot would raise, your special attack by 2 stages. But he had Flame Orb Milotic with Marvel Scale, and I think what Marvel Scale does, if you are statused with like something like a Flame Orb, then it raises your defenses or special defenses, something like that. It just makes it harder to kill, which honestly is fairly nice. If you're running a more supportive Milotic, which this was supposed to be, it was supposed to be like a setup, try to get some sleeps and stuff like that. But he was, like he said he was only going to be clicking Muddy Water. I view that as somewhat of a mistake. If you click coils and then you get some things to go to sleep, you could be in a much better position considering, like, depending on what's going on in that game specifically. But I mean, yeah, we had the Cofagrigus with Ally Switch Trick Room, which was pretty good. I'm the one that told him to put on Hypnosis Coil and Protect. Initially, he had other moves on. I think he was going more for like a little bit more damage, possibly. I don't really remember the first set he showed me.
What was the item on Cofagrigus? Because it got taunted and then it just couldn't do anything. I was wondering why it wasn't Mental Herb.
It was Iapapa Berry. So it was just going to go for more health back, just to be more annoying, more bulky. Mental Herb would have been fine. I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, the choices he makes are his alone. I can only voice my opinion so much. And we both agreed that this was going to be decent. I had tossed the idea of Talonflame coming this week, but that ended up not being a thing. We had the Choice Scarf on Urshifu to try and outspeed some things, especially in Tailwind, if that was coming. It just wasn't meant to be, I guess. It was rough. Tried to prep for the Crobat, and I don't even think the Crobat came. I don't think. No, it did come.
No, it did. It taunted
It wasn't led. He didn't lead it. I don't, if I remember correctly. And then just about to play game 2.
No, he taunted it with I don't think it ever got taunted. I think it was in prison with what's it called? Big psychic puffball. What the hell is that thing called again?
Oranguru?
No.
Musharna.
Musharna. There we go.
Yeah, so he couldn't use Trick Room off the rip because of that, which was a good play. I just think if there's one thing that I would, if I was him, I would have done differently, is I would have targeted the Charizard in that scenario, instead of the Groudon, knowing that it could
Game 2.
Yeah, in game 2.
Yeah.
That way, because you're at +3 at that point, attack, you kill off the Charizard, and then it's a 2v1 Milotic and Hitmonlee versus a Groudon. And I feel like that would have been enough to at least push it to the third set and then have a chance. But it was, listen, we thought we had a good team, but substitute Groudon was
you can't really prep for substitute Groudon.
Yeah, and then
it won him the first game.
Yeah,
a really good brain in Harrison's Spirit, because it just pretty much threw Griffin's plan out of one. It stopped Calyrex from doing what it wanted to do.
I also mentioned that Will-O-Wisp might be better than Grass Knot, so he put on Will-O-Wisp instead. So, I mean, Grass Knot could have been decent, but at the same time, Groudon was never out in the field when Grass Knot could have been clicked. So it was, I don't know, it was just good prep by Harrison, and unfortunate for Griff that, you know, it just happened to counter his entire team. So
yeah,
that's my thoughts on
him.
that game.
Definitely countered him game 1, and then game 2 he just, like you said, he targeted the Groudon even though substitute was always coming, and he left Charizard alive to sweep up at the end. Griff had a really good game 2, and he just didn't predict the substitute. It's frustrating. Yeah, Griff's got all your matchup this week against now with. He was so frustrated with Calyrex that he dropped it and added Rayquaza for this upcoming week against a Blizzard team. So that's going to be another tough one for Griffin.
That's going to be interesting to see how he can counter that. And speaking of that, now that we're done recapping all the games from week 5, let's transition into week 6 now. Let's get into the mindset of right now. And let's start it off by announcing the game of the week this week, which is actually going to be me versus Wex, which is really unfortunate why Wex isn't on the podcast this week because I can't trash talk him to his face. So you'll have to hear it back if you get.
No, it's better. Yeah, you can talk shit now if he can't even fight back.
Exactly. Oh wait. Yeah. That makes sense to me. But that's gonna be the first game we're gonna be talking about today for week 6. And in Eli's stead, because Eli has been doing so trash, Ryder will actually be making the predictions for Eli.
Maybe he'll get some right this week.
Yeah, maybe he'll do more than 2 points per week, but we'll see how good Ryder can do in Eli's stead. But yeah, so me versus Wex, guys. I have my notepad out. I'm ready. Let me know what could be good here. What do you guys think?
Let's look at this matchup.
Looking at the matchup on paper, Wex has the positive matchup right here.
That's not what Justin wanted to hear, Ryder, off the rip.
No, this is not good.
Well,
this is
these
already
are my
not good.
thoughts, and just looking at it, it's that Yveltal just goes in. A Max Dark just hits everything on the team.
Oh yeah, you have not one single dark resist. Maybe Slurpuff, like talk, but there's your C tiers. Like I don't know if you even bring them this week. Your top half of your team does not like a Max Darkness with Dark Aura. That is evident off the rip.
Yeah.
With redirection support and fake out support, you might not even be able to hit the Yveltal, and it can just sit there for days.
And given Yveltal's pretty bulky, it's gonna be hard to take down. And I don't. In this team, I don't see too much of an offensive pressure you have to deal with Yveltal. But who knows? Wex might have Yveltal in team preview and not bring it just to threaten you. And just have Metagross come in.
It could be like a Rooster situation again where you prep so much for Gigas and then bam.
You just maxes Lantern or Explode.
Just max
Explode.
Or an Explode.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I tell you what I'm thinking right now. I'm thinking me lose, me 3-3, me cry. That's my thought process. But if we had to do predictions, I would say against Wex, I'm sorry,
you're backing
Wex,
yourself.
but I'm backing myself.
Oh.
And I'm backing myself 2-0.
2-0.
I believe that because Wex isn't going to have enough time to prep, it may allow me to take a little bit of an edge in that department. So I'm going to back myself. I'm going to say 2-0. I know it's not the greatest of matchups, but there are things that I can probably do. I don't know. Maybe I'm just looking at it now. Does Seismitoad Assault Vest? I don't know.
I think Jolteon looks all right. I think Jolteon gets Grass Knot, it gets Shadow Ball, and it gets obviously electric moves, which pretty well against Wex's team.
Don't think I get Grass Knot. I'm not gonna lie.
I thought Jolteon got Grass Knot or something, but maybe not.
I do.
I think
if I could get Hidden Power like Grass, that'd be wonderful. But I don't think I get Hidden Power.
Could have swore I got it, but that's like Raichu. They get Grass Knot. I'm pretty sure, not Jolteon.
But Raichu would be a decent bring. No, not Raichu. Jolteon would be a decent bring, but then it's always going to be Gastron coming in on the Yveltal slot. So it's going to be
a boom though. Does he want to bring a Gastrodon to a Rillaboom fight? I don't know.
Do I bring Rillaboom to a Yveltal fight? You know what I'm saying? Do I bring Dialga to a Mienshao who can just close combat? Do I bring Pelipper to a Clefable who's just not going to let it click Hurricane or Thunder? Do I just bring nobody and say, well, how are you going to kill me if I don't have any mons? You can't beat me if I don't have any mons, right? I don't know. 2-0 me. That's what I'm going for.
Oh boy. Ryder, what are you saying on the prediction?
There. That can help bring the
That's
coffee.
true. It could mitigate Dark Aura.
Stop Dark Aura.
That is true.
What are you saying, Ryder?
I'm gonna back you somewhat, Justin. I'm gonna say 2-1 Wex. I'm confident that you'll have
Wait,
something up
wait,
your
what?
sleeve that you'll take off one set.
Oh,
But
I was so
like,
hyped.
but I don't see a way for you to confidently beat the event. It just looks too good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't back Wex last week.
So now against me, you're gonna back
Oh,
Wex.
no.
I'm gonna say Wex 2-0 because I didn't back him last week. Okay, yeah.
I'm gonna join Ryder and I'm gonna back you somewhat, and I'm gonna say 2-1.
Okay,
Wex.
moving on.
These weaknesses to Dark Aura, other than like a coughing, could be cool, but Dark Aura Max Darkness is not fun for your team. We'll just keep it at that. We can move on.
Yeah. All right. Moving on, we have Rooster versus Harrison. That was already played. We did put predictions before they went, so we can display them now.
I went for a 2-1 Harrison. So did you, Justin?
I said 2-1 Harrison. Eli had already made this prediction, Ryder. So he, unfortunately for you, said 2-0 Harrison. So Eli, me, and Kev will be getting 0 points this week because Harrison lost 2-1 or 1-2 to Rooster, who is now 6-0. So let's recap this game. What do you guys think?
Don't forget that Wex, called it perfectly to our pain. Not that he's already at the top of the table and
we're not
needs any more help.
We're not mentioning that he's getting everything right, okay? It pains me. I got 2 points last week. 2 points. Pain.
Off the rip, Wex gets another 3. So painful.
Is it 3 or 2?
Oh, 2. My bad. I'm thinking
yeah.
other things. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, Wex already has 2 points because he predicted that perfectly, of course. But what did you guys think of the game?
Want to talk about this game, or do you want to save it?
Oh, that's a good point. Did we talk about?
Do you want to just save it for recap next week? I feel like we can.
Yeah, let's save it for week recap. Yeah. Let's save
this video is long enough.
Yeah, no, it is.
Stay tuned for analysis.
All right, so let's move on. Griff versus Quartz. Now, this is definitely a chance for Quartz to come back. I would say Blizzard spam and pray.
Yeah.
And this time, make sure you have the right ability. We have seen this multiple times by Quartz now, where he just brings the wrong ability because he preps a little too quickly. Hopefully, this time he brings something good, something that has a chance of giving him a win, and he doesn't self-sabotage by forgetting something or putting a wrong move, ability, item on someone. That's the hope, and I feel like if he can do that, he could win 2-0. That will be my prediction, as long as he can actually spend time prepping. He needs to. At least
locking in a quick 2-0 Quartz?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to. I mean, it's just bad for Rayquaza here. Let's take a deeper look at this team.
Say a Talonflame Urshifu could do well against a Blizzard lead.
Yeah, but
possibly. Oh wait,
it's still
doesn't Rayquaza have airlock, right?
He does.
Oh wait, Rayquaza ignores Blizzard.
It
gets rid of hail.
Oh.
It removes the effects of hail. So
that means Blizzard's still 70% accurate, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow, interesting. That could be game changer, actually. Why am I dumb? I hyped that up so much and just completely forgot about its ability.
To be honest,
to me.
I forgot about it too. So, but yeah,
that's why we have Ryder.
Matchup against Blizzard.
Oh no, it's still awful. It's still awful, but now it has at least more of a chance of coming and being, useful. Yeah,
Just
so I'm still gonna say
those Blizzard misses.
Yeah.
Them agency dodges. I mean, Ninetales is faster. Maybe you just run Ice Beam this week and hit that 100% accurate Ice Beam into Rayquaza. But I mean,
or Ice Shard.
Yeah, even in priority Ice Shard if Kyurem. I mean, his Ice types are kind of special attackers, so I don't know how viable that is, but chip Rayquaza is still very hard. I think a Talonflame Tailwind set with any. I think Shifu can stop Ice types for very well. It gets access to a Steel move for Ninetales. Kyurem doesn't want to see a fighting move, Steel move. Moltres kind of hinders Urshifu a bit with their streams. So it's gonna be. I feel like whoever gets the lead right. Like I feel like there's not one clear winner now because of Rayquaza's airlock. So whoever is gonna send out the right lead on time could be kind of clutch for that person. Like that could give them all the momentum, and it might be over straight from the lead. I feel like it's a tough one to call though. Ryder, what are you saying?
I'm just gonna say 2-0 Quartz.
You guys are back in the redemption arc.
I just don't see Rayquaza putting too much work, but because it's
a Max
too...
Hailstorm just OHKOs it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. Unless it's like Sash or Quasar, but then Hail. So like, well, no, it actually ignores Hail. God, who brain
You're
work.
doing great. You're doing great.
You're doing it right.
I don't know. I think Griffin has had bad matchups, and he just like loses on one play. Like it's always like even last week, like it was still so close despite Harrison like having great options for Calyrex. So like Griffin always finds himself in these situations where he can win, and then it's like one thing that just doesn't go his way, or one misclick, or maybe not misclick, but lack of judgment on the situation he's in, like the targeting into Groudon when it was going to sub. So I feel like it could be closer, and Quartz hasn't had the best of seasons. Like he hasn't won a single game yet. So I think I'm gonna back Quartz as well, but I'm gonna say 2-1. I'm gonna say 2-1. I think Quartz shit together this week and pulls out a victory, and I think Griffin's gonna have a tough time and with Ice for sure.
Okay, so we got 2-1, 2-0, and 2-0. Interesting. All right, let's move on. We have Ryder versus Mao. Ryder, do you want to give us a little sneak peek at the tech that you might be bringing this week?
Well, to me...
Well, no, not really.
Well, I'll just say that Giratina has a good matchup against Necrozma. I'll just say that. But at the same time, Necrozma Dustme has shown that it's very bulky and can tank super effective hits well. So that would be very troublesome, especially with a Cinderace right next to it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Max Cinderace with the Max Darkness from Sucker Punch being the base move. That could be really, really strong into the Giratina. Also, given that it has the fighting coverage, or if you really wanted to, he could go special just for the Celesteela. It gives you a lot of options, but obviously the max was it Max Pyreball? Like what's that? G-Max Fireball?
It's just
Yeah.
only on a bottle of Fireball.
Yeah, it does so much damage. Libero being annoying as it is, it's rough. I think Ryder Incineroar is gonna have to come yet again, just for the strong physical threat that is Cinderace. That would be my thought process. Yeah, but no, it looks like other than that, like the Cinderace being a major damage threat, it's hard if you're. Actually, no, Naganadel, whatever. Naganadel looks pretty okay here.
I was gonna say I think Naganadel covers a Giratina Comfey lead pretty well. Can one-shot Comfey, and it has it can do big damage to Giratina well. So I think that could be really cool. And it's also like I think you see Necrozma and Cinderace, and Incineroar with like Will-O-Wisps and Intimidate and Parting Shot kind of handles both of them pretty well. So I think maybe Naganadel as a special option could come this week. I think that's maybe better, just so you can't you can still get Parting Shot, but you just can't get Willowed and Intimidated spam by Incineroar, and it gets decent coverage. It can probably hit Incineroar or something, and it has a good matchup against Comfey Giratina. So I think Naganadel maybe is his best option this week. Could be very interesting.
I would agree, but I'm not willing to bet against Ryder in this matchup specifically. I'll give Mal the respect that he deserves this season. I'll say 2-1 Ryder, but it's definitely going to be a tight one.
I'm gonna
say the same. It's gonna be a tight match for sure.
Ryder is backing himself, of course. Yeah, Mal's 4-1 this season, man. He's really loving this team. I'm glad I don't have to play him this season. I don't need him playing with all that confidence against me. It's gonna be a tough matchup for sure. Do I agree with the crowd? Is that what we're saying? Ooh. Hey, let's be different. I'm gonna say 2-1 Mal. Sorry, Ryder.
See, Ryder, he never backs the people that he calls his friends. I'm telling you, this guy is a traitor. He does not care for us. We should just... I don't know.
I gotta look at stats here. I gotta look at a nice Naganadel.
I feel like I'm Stephen A. Smith, and you're Max Kellerman, and you won Iguodala. What the...
I gotta differentiate. I gotta make it interesting. I gotta say, Mal's having a great season, 4-1, and Ryder's struggling, 2-3. The Chihuahua did not work last week. The profile picture switch did not work, and I'm gonna say Mal and Ryder, I'm sorry. That's all I'm gonna say. Let's move on.
Oh,
all right, Ryder, you already heard that. Use that as fuel, poster board material. All right, let's move on. We have a Gummy versus Will. Kevin, I'm not allowing you to speak on this subject because you're just going to hack Will into oblivion before it could even happen. I can't speak on the subject either because I have done that to Will. So Ryder, I'll give it off to you. How do you feel about this matchup?
I would say that Will has a pretty good matchup, but overall looks pretty even. I think it'll be a battle between the Prankster Mons and the Restricteds. Because Solgaleo and Eternatus, they can't go head to head. They both have coverage to hit each other for super effective. Grimmsnarl could definitely be annoying with fake out and screens. It also has access to Spirit Break. So Spirit Break could be definitely an annoying move that debuffs Will, and can see Togekiss coming again. No, never mind. Togekiss doesn't look too great, but overall, I think it's gonna be pretty even in this. It's a matter of who can prep, play better. But I'm excited to see what Will's new transactions will do. Since I think he picked up Swoobat.
I feel like I have to back Will every week now, just because he picked up Swoobat. Like, how could you vote against Swoobat? I don't know. I feel like it's gonna be hard for me to not cheer for Swoobat. He's just a beast. He just simply is a beast. But from Gummy's standpoint, I don't even.
Gummy.
Ryder said this is it's Gummy Will, right?
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm not even gonna, like Ryder said, this is a tough one to call. The matchup's pretty even. All I'm gonna say, I'm just gonna ask, for me and Ryder personally, it's time for the Turt, bro. We need Turtonator.
The Turtonator.
It is time. It is a beastly mon. Got the boost into B tier. It has a decent matchup, I think, under Trick Room and stuff. Right, it's time. It's time for Turt. I don't even... Whatever you gotta do.
Just gonna get... I don't know if I like Turt here.
I don't
You're
care.
just gonna mention it. Under Trick Room, it could definitely work. Bulldoze
For
Slowbro
sure.
Follow me, Togekiss, to
paired with
switch away the
Turtonator
Max
in
Dragon.
Trick Room. And then
Oh,
you
that
just
too.
go hand with Max Turtonator. With Weakness Policy Prod from Bulldoze Slowbro. Could work under Trick Room.
It's got Solar Beam for Blastoise. It's got Dragon for Eternatus. Fire for Whimsicott. If with Weakness Policy, you can even run a physical rock move for Volcarona. Fire
No, you
hits
just need
Aegis.
Selfies for
You could go
Volcarona. Don't even
Scorching
worry about it.
Sands, Max Quakes for the Spadef boost. It would work well. Trick Room mode looks
Bring the
pretty
turd.
decent.
I think Max Quake would be
Time.
better for the Eternatus, to be honest. That's just me, though.
Yeah, for sure. The Max Dragon, don't need to worry about its physical offense, so getting those Spadef boosts could be clutch. But yeah, all I'm gonna say is it's time for Turt. But he's had a rough season. Got his first win in the Battle of the Basement. But Will's a tough opponent for sure, as we've seen. He has not lost a single game 2-0, like I've said earlier. And I gotta back the Swoobat. I'm saying 2-1 Will.
You know what? Just because you're rooting for Will, I'm going to say 2-1 Gummy.
Ooh,
You know what? No. 2-0 Gummy. I'm a buck the trend. Even though every time Will loses, it's in 3 sets. Actually, no. Okay. No, that makes sense. Okay, 2-1 Gummy. I'll
pick up your
revert back.
mind.
2-1 Gummy. Final answer.
Lock it in.
Yeah, 2-1 Gummy. I think Turk could go crazy this week. Pair it with like screens from Grimmy. Oh man,
Grimmy?
that could be.
Is that your nickname if you had Grimmsnarl?
Oh, yeah. Or Grim Brothers, whatever.
Oh, man.
But
Right,
I
what are
would
you
say
saying?
2-1
Yeah, 2-1.
Gummy as well.
Oh man.
Because I can see
back in the
Turtonator
turd.
going crazy under Trick Room with Weakness Policy Prod. Like a Max Dragon, Max Fire, and Max Quake. That's all the coverage you need against Will's team with Turtonator. And Turtonator is bulky naturally, so it like can take hits maxed. But one downside is that you could definitely play around that lead, and I think I can see it being successful for one set, and then Will can counter it. But I think Gummy can pull through and secure another set win. But it's Will, so you never know. He's a good
Last
battler.
thing I want to say before I think we covered everything, but last thing I want to say is very disappointed that we haven't really seen Thwackey at all this season, and it's a shame that it has a pretty bad, like, it's good against Blastoise, but Volcarona Eternatus Thwackey just isn't what it wants to be. I'm waiting for the matchup where we see it Thwackey. It's
Thwackey
always
is so
Yeah, it hasn't had a good week.
not yet.
I just
It's
think
a
the
shame.
introduction of restricted's really limited the usage of grass types in general, because now there's so many different mons that can hit super effective into it, and not only just hit super effective but very, very strongly. So like me with Rillaboom, it's hard for me to bring it in a lot of these matchups because it is so frail, and the same thing extends to the Thwackey. So
Yeah.
it's definitely rough. It's not fun, but it's the world we have to live in as monkey lovers. Rillaboom, Thwackey, it's it is what it is, I'll live.
What it is.
But all that being said, let's get into Riolu versus Germ. All right, guys, what do you think about Riolu versus Germ? How do you think this one plays out?
This is a battle of two people that have been a little out of form recently.
I would argue Riolu was actually playing pretty well, but he went up against Mal with momentum. But yeah. And then Germ was unlucky just to not unlucky, but he just didn't know the tech would copycat. So
Yeah. I think I kind of like the Kyogre this week. I think Zacian doesn't really want to take some water moves in rain. It's not super effective, but Zacian's not the bulkiest of boys, and water spam in rain is going to be really interesting to see how much it does to Zacian. And the ice threats in the Salamence are real as well. So Very interested to see what Germ does to counter the rain. I think Clefairy could be huge. Bulky redirection and stuff like that. So on paper, I really like the Kyogre this week. I don't know what you guys are saying, but I'm thinking Tailwind Water Spout spam with Kyogre looks really good.
Yeah, it definitely does, but I would like to mention that Clefairy Salamence lead, just to redirect, and then you max the Ments and get rid of Tornadus off the rip. Change the weather with a max ice if Salamence gets a max ice.
Not sure if it does. It's 4 times weak to ice, so it would be interesting to say.
But it's a dragon type, so it should get coverage, right?
It does get coverage. If it's ice coverage, I would be very surprised to see.
Well, either way, he probably gets a
It
max
does not.
rockfall. He probably gets a max rockfall, so it's still the same thing.
He does get Stone Edge and things.
So
like
you can change, if you max, you can change the weather, and then you can OHKO Tornadus. If it's Focus Sash, it dies to the sand, so it doesn't really matter too much in that department. So that could be a really, really good lead. The only thing you have to worry about is a Kyogre water spouting in your face or trying to Ice Beam in your mitt, which if you have Wide Guard on any of your mons, could be a very, very good play this week.
I don't think Germ has Wide Guard.
I don't think so either.
Mons.
Unless like Berserker gets it, I don't think he does. Or like Chinchino.
Berserker has access to Wide Guard. I didn't know.
If anything was to have it, it'd be like Berserker or Chinchino, I think. So
Chinchino
we
for
can
sure
double
doesn't have it. I know that.
Does Zacian get it, or is it just restricted to the other forms, Zamazenta?
Oh, Zacian could get it, honestly. If I know Zom does get it, so Zacian could be interesting. Zacian gets Quick Guard. Does it get Wide Guard? That is the question. It does not. It gets Quick Guard.
Yeah, and Berserker doesn't have access to Wide Guard. So
Yeah.
Water Spout spam, Blizzard spam, that's all that Kyogre needs in this matchup. Because Germ can't stop it. He doesn't have a Wide Guard. So
I think
to like cover the Clefairy Salamence lead, just lead like a Specs Kyogre with Blizzard and just hope they hit.
Yeah, and I don't even think you need Tornadus at that point. You can just lead it with Kingdra, and I think Kingdra can do a lot of good things this week as well. You could put a Clefairy in rain, and you can target Salamence pretty quickly. I think I really like. It's so mainstream of Riolu to run rain, the hyper rain offense, but I don't see a way Germ stops it this week. I think I'm gonna go 2-0 Riolu. Bold prediction here. 2-0 Riolu.
I'm gonna go 2-1 Germ. I think Germ will be able to find a way to stop it. Whether it just be with like something that resists or just out damaging, which is hard but is possible. I think he has a chance. So I'm gonna say 2-1 Germ.
Yeah, I'm gonna say 2-0 Riolu for this one. Yeah.
Eli's either gonna love you or hate you for these predictions. I'm just saying.
You can't do much worse than what Eli's doing. So
That's true.
you have somewhat of a safety blanket if you do bad, because you could do bad and still do better than Eli. All right, and I think we can transition to the final match for Week 6, which is me versus Mac. What you guys saying? Obviously.
I'm thinking Mac wins pretty easly. I think 2-0.
Ooh. Are you locking that in? Can I write that down?
Oh wait, hold on. Are we actually okay? No, I think Mac. No, what am I saying? Mac.
Mac and me.
I don't know. My brain's starting to mush really quickly.
I would say you have a decent Trick Room matchup against Mac. You have some mons that can work under Trick Room. Namely Avalugg. I think Avalugg could be definitely annoying. Since it has access to Steel Spike, I believe. And I think it could deal with Stakataka quite well with its base, like, I don't know. I don't know what's Avalog's base defense, because I know it's
It's
pretty
high. Very,
I believe
very
it's
high.
like one. I
50?
believe it's like one. No, it's like 170. I think
170. You
172.
could
I
tank
think
the
it's
stack attack a
Oh,
hit
no,
max.
sorry. My bad, Avalog. Didn't mean to cut you short. Its base defense is 184.
Jesus Christ.
What's his base HP? I'm assuming it's pretty high.
95.
That's still okay.
But you know that Spadef is 46. So,
Yeah.
who
But you'd
don't
be
know.
Oko
It's a
and
tough bring.
Katarine, right?
It's a tough bring with that 46 Spadef.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know. I still like your matchup, Kev. I'm not gonna lie. You have answers to all of his team with, Trick Room Dragouji, which I think you can make it slower than the Hippo. Yeah, you can hit it with a Max Geyser, change the weather from Sandstorm. Do the same thing, hit into Stack, but Stack can always hit into Dragouji super effective. So it's like, okay, how am I gonna get rid of this? But in pair it with like a Prankster Klefki with screens, you'll be able to block it pretty well, or just ally switch. I think Klefki gets ally switch, maybe not. So like there's ways to circumvent that in Trick Room if you decide to bring it. But I mean, for the most part, in Trick Room, I still like the Hatterene and Riolu. Like that could always do a lot of work. Obviously, you have to be prepared for Ndidi with any of the top four. So like Ndidi Stack, Ndidi Hatterene, Ndidi Zekrom. Those things are definitely viable. Unlike you, Kev, I'm not a douche. So I will be picking you 2-0 to win.
2-0. Oh, I appreciate it.
Because I'm a nice guy. What can I say? I do what I believe is right and just, and this is truly right and just. So 2-0 Kev.
Matter what you're saying.
I would say 2-1 for Kev. I think I can pull something off under Trick Room, steal off one set. But I just see your counters to max like top 3 mons, and they can deal with them. Marowak looks pretty decent if you position it correctly. Avlog looks pretty good as well if you position it correctly. I think this matchup will be mainly who can position better, put themselves in a good spot, and start sweeping. I think that will be key in this matchup, and I feel that if Kevin can do that well in this matchup, he could definitely win.
Right.
Kev, how do you feel
off the
about
top
your
of my
matchup?
head right now? I'm thinking special rule this week. If Ryder gets equal or to less than Eli's usual points, correct? So like if Ryder gets 2 or 1 points equal to what Eli gets, we should all get like a +3 on our score.
No, you know what it should be? It should be if Ryder gets a match perfectly right, it's now double points. You
Get
double
Eli,
points.
get Eli back in the race. I'm down for that.
I
We
think
can,
that's fair. Yeah, double points for every perfect answer.
So each perfect answer for Ryder this week is worth 4.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Oh,
All right.
wow.
No
I like
pressure.
that. I like that. Get Eli back in the swing of things. But yeah. If we have nothing else to say, I think we can.
Whoa. I'm assuming you mean 2-0 for yourself. Right?
Oh yeah, I already wrote that down. Come on now,
Okay.
that's a
Yeah,
given.
I thought we should touch on that. I mean,
Yeah, that's fair. I did not mention it. I just I just assumed it was known. I'm backing myself 2-0. But yeah, I believe that is all, and transition nicely to a little Justin outro.
Yep. So thank you guys for listening to this version of the NDA podcast, episode 103. Thank you, Ryder, for joining us today on such short notice. We appreciate your input and your insight, and as always, you're a very lovely guest. So thank you. Thank you, Kevin, as always, for joining me, and we will see you guys in the next week recap for week 6. And sorry for the long episode, but we kind of needed to crank this one out given everyone else's schedules. So that's why you're getting something that's over an hour long. But don't worry, we'll be back to our normal schedule hopefully soon enough. So thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll catch you guys next time. Peace out.
Peace out, guys. And
Peace
like
out.
Justin said, shout out Ryder.